All right, hello and welcome to another Expert Inside interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from San Diego. And today I am delighted to be joined all the way from Tel Aviv in Israel by Dr. Yaniv Zaid. How are you doing, Doctor?
Hi, John. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's a privilege for me.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us, from Tel Aviv, given everything that's going on. We really appreciate you joining us today. And you are known in the world as Dr. Persuasion. You're an economist, an attorney, and a business consultant to governments, private firms, public organizations. You have had 20 years of international success. Author of 11 books, 11 bestseller books. I mean, one book is an achievement. 11 is an amazing achievement, including public speaking, creative marketing, sales Bible. And what we're going to talk about today is how to become the best version of yourself as a sales manager or a salesperson, how you can present yourself in the best way possible, and how you can demonstrate that you're an expert. So getting straight into it, Dr. Yaniv, what are some of the simple, number one, maybe take a step back. How do you know, taking a look at yourself, if you are putting your best foot forward?
Well, my definition of an expert is very wide, because people always look for expert. I will give you an example. If you come to a restaurant and you don't know the restaurant and you sit down, the waitress comes to you, then you ask her, what do you recommend? Let's think about it for a minute. When you ask her what do you recommend, and you don't know her, okay? And maybe I'm 47 years old, she's 21 years old. Usually I don't consult with 21 years old, and actually she represents the interest of the restaurant, not me, because she's going to offer me what the chef told her to offer me. But yet I ask her, what do you recommend, and why do I do it? Because immediately, if I don't know anything, I would like to shorten my learning curve. Then I will ask an expert, because she's considered as an expert because she knows the restaurant better than I. So I guess everyone that can hear us is an expert in something. And when you want to become a better salesperson, a better business person, then you need to become an expert. You need to know to have a great knowledge, professional knowledge, but you need to, for other people to consider you as an expert, and that will know you have this knowledge. So every expert is a student, and you need to study all the time, but you also need to market your knowledge so people can consider you as an expert.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Dr. Yaniv. I think that idea of you can become an expert, but you're a student. You always have to be learning, because, I mean, let's face it now. I mean, you could, with AI and everything, the world has changed so dramatically that if you're not keeping up on things, you'd be a dinosaur in no time. But it's that, I guess, it's that thing. It's that kind of intellectual curiosity. Maybe put it that way. If I have the intellectual curiosity to learn about your business, your industry, what's going on, learn about the business of business, that's going to make me a far better salesperson than if I just focus on maybe sales techniques.
Yeah, and you mentioned AI. So even if in a digital era, and even if in an AI era, there is no replacement yet for human beings, for the human touch, for maybe the emotions in a sales meeting or sales conversation. And there is always the secret ingredient of human people that AI is not yet to achieve. And I even when you have Zoom meetings, for example, I always prefer one-on-one frontal meetings, not just by Zoom, because there is a magic happening in the room. So to look inside into people's eyes, and and to know about them, and to ask them, and to really listen to them, it's something you can't replace with computer. You can replace it, by the way, but if you want to have maximum conversion rate, then you need to become a frontal or one-on-one salesperson.
Yeah, no, 100%. And what AI can't do as well is it can't predict the unpredictable, if you like. And that's what we're, as humans, we're good because we know we're crazy and we don't do things rationally, and we don't follow, particular patterns always. So that's the advantage we have. We know that, so we know how to deal with things out of left field a little bit better. But getting back to, okay, if I want to set myself up and I want to establish myself as an expert, what are some of the other things I need to do in order for you to perceive me as an expert?
Okay, for people to buy from you or to consider you as an expert, you have 4 steps. Step number 4 is people buy from you. But step number 1 is to know you. People need to know you. Now you have the awareness that, so you need to be everywhere that your clients are, in their platforms, in a real reality, when they live, when they go to work, which newspaper or book they read, and online. Then which Facebook groups they're in, what kind of words they write on Google. So you need to be where your clients are, so people will get to know you, because the first step for people to consider you as an expert is actually to know you, to be in the game. Now, step number 2 is they need to like you. Meaning that they need to have some kind of chemistry with you. Now, They don't need to actually meet you in order to do it. They can meet you on Zoom. They can see you online in the lecture. They can watch a video on YouTube. They can see your video on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. Right. And then they say, well, I like this person. So this is step number 2. Step number 3 is they need to trust you. Trust you meaning they need to have the professional trust that, okay, this guy is not just nice, he actually knows what he's talking about. Okay, so how can you define the trust? Because of social proof. Because I would like to be an expert, so I need to show them, some, let's say, objective evidence that I am an expert. Because if I will say just I'm an expert, I'm very good at what I do, I'm great, I'm a great guy, people love me, then it doesn't sound objective. It sounds subjective because I'm talking about myself. So obviously I'm going to speak highly of myself. But if I will say, I have a degrees, this and these degrees, or this is some testimonials of my clients, or I work with these and these clients, some celebrities in this area, or my studies, my professional, studies, some volunteering activity that I do. All these are kinds of social proof, and then people know, okay, he's an expert. I not only can like him, but also can trust. So step number 1 is to know me and awareness. Step number 2 is to like me, this personal attention that I provide you, even on Zoom or on YouTube. Right. And step number 3 is the trust, and then step number 4 is that they will buy from the experts.
Yeah. So one of the things that you just mentioned there about is is your credentialing, right, across all the things that validate you across the platform. So I think sometimes it's really important for you, if you're a salesperson or sales leader or anything, is to do a search on yourself every so often to see what comes up and to make sure that you are happy with how, because somebody's going to do that search on you, so that you're happy with everything that shows up. And if there are things that you're not happy with, or the things that you think are de-credentialing, maybe you need to go and remove them. But I think you have to be intentional, and you have to be on top of your digital footprint.
Yeah, you have actually a digital identity. There is the identity, real identity, and there is the digital identity. That if someone is looking for Dr. Yaniv Zaid online, what he's going to find. And my interest is that at least the 10 first results, on Google will be mine. My blog, my Facebook, my Instagram, my LinkedIn. So I would like to be in as many platforms as I can be. I believe in writing one content and spread it into many platforms. You don't need to write different content for each platform, and you can write one thing and then post it as post on Facebook and on your business page, and on your LinkedIn, and on your if it's a movie, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok and Instagram, the same movie, because some of the people will see you here and here and here, but some of them will see you just in one platform. They even don't know you are relevant in other platforms. So you need to be where your clients are, and you need to build your professional identity, because if you don't do it, okay, if I know some clients that they tell me, well, I have many customers, I don't need to invest in my digital identity. So what happens is, if I look for them, maybe I will find some lawsuit that someone gave them 10 years ago, or some blogger wrote something about them 5 years ago. So it will appear as the first results about them, because this is what the index of the internet finds. So I need to control. To control the system, to control what people are going to say about me, and then I can, if I bring a lot of information to online, then this is what people will find. So I can control the process, and I can have my writing, my marketing writing about me, all my social proofs, for example, my resume. People will find it at the first results.
Yeah, yeah, and the other part too is you were talking about the second step is people liking you, and I think the fastest way for people to like you is for you to be your authentic self, because I think sometimes you'll see. People have got this idea that if you're going to be successful in sales, well, you have to be big and you have to be gregarious and you have to be all. And sometimes people try to adopt that persona, but it's not really them. But some of the best salespeople I've ever come across have been like quite quiet, quite reserved, but they have a great presence. They're great asking questions. They're great listeners, and you like them because you can tell that they're good and that they're authentic and they're going to really want to get into this. So I think that piece of being yourself is really important.
Yeah, authenticity is very, very important. To be the best version of yourself, not to try to duplicate others. It doesn't work anyway, so you don't even bother trying. But I always tell to people, be a Batman and not Superman. If you want people to identify with you, then be Batman and not Superman. What is the difference between Batman and Superman? That they are both superheroes, and they are both look like human being, regular human being. But Superman is not a regular human being. He came from another planet. So if Superman will let's say provide a workshop how to fly, and I sit in the first row, and the VIP seats. And he will explain everything. He will say you go to the roof, and then you pick you see the wind. You pick your first step, something like that. And I will do, and I write everything. I will do exactly what he says. I'm going to fall from the building because I actually can't fly. But Batman is a regular person who developed not regular powers. So he can tell me, well, I'm like you. I'm a regular person. I even, the Joker killed my parents when I was young, and I was afraid of the dark, and then from bats, and I fell into a cave, and all this story, the Cinderella story. But then I taught myself how to fly. Let me teach you. You can do 1, 2, 3, and then I can teach how to fly if I'm willing to put to invest the time, money, and energy that Batman put. So if you like to be authentic in front of your audience, then don't just tell them about your success. And this is my model girlfriend. This is my huge car. We are 2024, and people have the fake radar or the bullshit radar. They know when you're authentic and when you're just trying to duplicate others, and when you're just showing off with your money or something like that. So you tell them also about the failures. Tell them about the lab hours. Not just the success. Tell them about your thoughts, about your identity. They would like to get to know you, and then. Again, they know you, they like you, they trust you because you are human beings like them, and then they are more willing to buy from you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the third one you mentioned, and you mentioned it again, there is the trust one. And that's the probably one of the most difficult parts, because, and I think sometimes, again, if we come back to authenticity, sometimes what I don't like is when I'm on the receiving end is when it's like, I ran a sales consultancy some years back, and we worked with global companies, but sometimes those companies said, oh, we don't call our salespeople, we call them something else. And I'd say, that's fine. Whatever you want to call them is fine. But just so as you know, the prospects know that they're a salesperson. So you can call them whatever you want. So for me, I always think the best salesperson I trust, if they embrace being a salesperson to begin with, and they're not hiding the fact that they're a salesperson, but they are working hard to really understand what you need, and to really listen, and they don't take superficial answers. They don't dive in, they go deeper, and then you build a trust because you think, okay, here's somebody who actually is going through their own process of figuring out whether I'm a fit for them as well.
Yeah, I teach in my workshops and lectures about soft sale, not hard sale. So the difference is that hard sale, you say, well, you should buy now, buy now, buy now, and then immediately, the client is defending himself. And then soft sale is, I'm not selling to you anything, I'm just telling you stories and you buy. Okay, so what kind of stories do I tell you? I tell you stories about myself, stories about my other clients, stories about social proof, resume, success, failures, stories about failures, stories about successes, case studies that I provide to you, articles, everything like that. It's also social proof. So I tell you lots of stories, and then you persuade yourself that you need to buy it. So this is soft sale. And again, I think in 2024 people do things differently. And also 2025 they use buy, because the world is changing, and people, again, they know when you're not authentic, they know when you can call yourself whatever you want, but they see, like you said, that you are a salesperson.
Okay, so building on the area of trust, right? So once you get into this the sales process, and you're able to, you know, they know you and they like you, and you're able to build that first level of trust. I mean, the most important thing for trust is that you are consistent, right? And you do what you say you're going to do, because I think that's where trust unravels a bit. If suddenly you're very attentive and then suddenly one day you don't reply, right, for a few days, or you don't come back with the answer or whatever, but you act kind of out of character with the rest of the experience, that can be a real red flag when it comes to trust.
You know, yeah, those are the small steps, small details that provide the big results. There was a survey in United States that why companies choose vendors, or how they choose vendors or suppliers. So they gave lots of companies five choices. Let's say, for example, I would like a digital expert, you know, a Facebook expert, and they gave me 5 choices, 5 websites of experts, and I can put my details, and I wait for a response. Now, 1 month later, they came back to all of those companies, and they told them, okay, you start working with someone. Why did you pick this vendor and not others? You know, why this one and not the other 4? So you might have imagine that people will say to you, well, I got 5 price quotes, and I talk to clients, and I compared the prices, and I did lots of research. But actually, the answers were a lot simpler. The second most common answer was, he was the first one to get back to me. You know, I left 5 websites. I left my call, and the first one who got back to me, I started working with him because I needed a solution. And the most common answer, surprisingly, was he was the only one who got back to me.
Right.
You know, because, you know, I consult to many companies and to many marketing teams, and lots of times there are leads, you know, potential clients that they don't get a response, because, you know, there is a automatic campaign, and the campaign brings leads every day, and sometimes this guy is sick, and this guy, now there is a holiday, and now it's a weekend, and now I'm in the bad shape, so I didn't do lots of calls, and the leads are starting to get higher and higher, and sometimes you get back to someone a week after, a month after, or not at all. You know, so the company spend a lot of time about getting the leads, you know, from a digital campaign, you know, something like that, and then you don't talk to people on time.
Yeah, you know, it is incredible, Doctor, because anytime I talk to other business, you know, people in other businesses as well, it's always the same thing. It's like, oh, you know, we need more leads. It's hard to, you know, find the right prospects. And yet what you're outlining there, that happens more often than people realize. I mean, even, you know, think about it, even in your own life, if you want something done at home, and you go online and you fill out contact forms or whatever for 3 or 4 different service providers, or maybe you leave voicemails. Quite often, you will only get 1 or 2 of them to call you back, which is incredible, right? You're actually calling, asking, you know, hey, can I potentially give you my business, and you don't even call me back. And I think that, so to your point is, and that's one great takeaway from people out there, sometimes being there first and fast is better than, you know, you may be the greatest salesperson in the world, but you've turned up 2 weeks later, you might have missed the boat.
And also, if I'm the only one who get back to you, then the prices doesn't matter, you know, because you don't actually compare prices from 5 price quotes, you know, just talking to me. So I tell you my price, and you decide if it's good or not. You don't compare it to other prices. So I can be higher, you know, I can be an expert and to charge more, and it's okay. It's okay by the client, because I am the only one he knows. So this is, by the way, if we're talking about referrals, we talked about the first steps, you know, know, like, trust, and then buy. So if, for example, you talk about me to your friend, okay, and then you say, well, Dr. Yaniv Zaid is a great consultant, business consultant, and you tell your friend who has a business, he needs a consultant, you need to talk to Yaniv. And now he's talking to me, okay? So he doesn't know me, but he knows you, and he likes you, and he trusts you, and he knows you, okay? So when he talks to me, he's more willing to buy, because the 3 steps he didn't, you know, went through with me, but he went through with you. So this is why referrals are such a good tool for sales, for increasing your sales capabilities, and also your sales results.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But again, like you said, I mean, in order to get a referral, you have to be known, liked, you have to be trusted, and that other person has to feel comfortable. So it's worth the investment, because you can probably often sometimes get your sale without them knowing, liking, and trusting you. You can still probably, if it's something they need and, you know, it's the right price and all of that, but you're unlikely to get a referral out of that unless you have that relationship. So, you know, that piece is really important.
Yeah, we're talking about long-term relationship, and you can ask for referrals if you have a happy client. So when you finish the job, you know, you can sell them more, you know, to move on to the next activity, to do upsell, cross-sell, you know, sell them different things that you have, and you can ask for referrals, and you need to, you know, to use the momentum. Now the client is happy, you finish the job, now you can ask, you know, I always say, not just talk about me or some general, you know, information, but please write free, please give me free contacts, details of free persons. And you ask your clients, so some of them won't give you at all, some of them will give you maybe one name, and some of them will say, okay, write down, and then they will give you 10 names, and then you have the next leads, you know, for free.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've done a really good job, they'll actually reach out on your behalf and introduce you.
Of course. I always ask them, give me the details, I will approach them, but please write them down, or an email or text message, or maybe even call them and say, well, I contact you to Dr. Yaniv Zaid, he's going to reach you, I highly recommend Dr. Yaniv, or something like that, and then you know, the conversation, the sales meeting will be much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Dr. Yaniv, thank you so much for this. Some great insights. All of the doctor's information will be below this video. But before we go, please do tell people a little bit more about you and what you do.
Okay, so I provide business consulting to government officials, to private companies, to high-tech companies, startups, lecturers, authors, how everyone who would like to increase their sales, to become a better brand or better expert, to you know, to build a lecture or build a presentation, maybe to investors, to audience, authors who would like to you know, to better sell their books. So I help people to achieve more and to earn more money. And you can reach me out at my website. It's drpersuasion.com, or you can call me. You can send me an email to yaniv@yanivzaid.com, and I will be happy to answer any question you may have. So if you liked some of the ideas I mentioned now, please feel free to reach me out. All my details are on my website, and also my email, yaniv@dryanivzaid.com. And also I have books, like you mentioned at first. So I have now my new release in the United States and worldwide. It's the 21st Century Sales Bible. So it's now on bookstores and on Amazon and online. So feel free to you know, purchase my book, and again, talk to me about any question you may have.
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage you to go check out those books. And thank you again, Doctor. And thank you for watching and listening. And I will see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much.